I like to think of breadthFirstSearch as a water flooding from the top, kind of like this, where we check from the top all the way down. And I like to think of breadthFirstSearch as these little lines that go one as deep as they can, and then they keep going to the right. But what is the advantage over the other? They both do the same thing, traversal, but each one is used for different reasons. And in interviews, you'll get questions about what type of traversal to do. And usually you'll have one of these two answers that you'll have to say. So when should you use one over the other? And we're going to explore that throughout the next couple of videos, but I want to start off with the main pros and cons. The time complexity for breadthFirstSearch and depthFirstSearch is the same, right? They all visit the nodes at least once. So it's O of n. All traversal is O of n. So when we're trying to traverse through a tree or a graph, what we're really trying to do is walk through the tree without ever repeating ourselves. And the order is the thing that matters when it comes to breadthFirstSearch and depthFirstSearch. Now, let's talk about breadthFirstSearch. With breadthFirstSearch, it's very good for finding the shortest path between a starting point and any other reachable node. Because we always start off with the root node and then search the closest nodes first, and then the nodes further, and then further, and then further. And this is going to become more apparent when we talk about graph traversal. And we have some videos specifically for this discussion. But the one downside with breadthFirstSearch is that it requires more memory than depthFirstSearch. Again, something we'll discuss more of when we start coding it. But a good rule of thumb is that if you have additional information on the location of the target node, and you know that the node is likely in the upper level of a tree, then breadthFirstSearch is better because it will search through the closest nodes first. On the other hand, depthFirstSearch is the opposite. If you know that the node is likely at the lower level of a tree, perhaps depthFirstSearch is better in that case. And depthFirstSearch is really good at asking the question, does the path exist to a certain node, from a source node to a target node? Again, something we'll get more into when we talk about graphs. The big advantage with depthFirstSearch is that it uses less memory than breadthFirstSearch. The downside with depthFirstSearch is that it can get slow, especially if the tree or graph is really, really deep. And it's not necessarily good at finding the shortest path, like breadthFirstSearch. Now that we have an idea of when to use what, I know it's not 100% yet, we're getting there, but first I want to do a bit of an exercise.